Okay, we're using a click PLC for your communications between this unit and another one just like it, which I'll show you in just a minute. But right now what I want to show you is the power coming in, comes in down here. Here's your hot 120, here's your ground, and here's your neutral, and here's your ground. Then up here you have two wires coming off this power supply that come underneath to power the click, and that ground wire of course goes on down there. And then as far as the layout is concerned, I am using X1, X2, X3, and X4, and those are the only four inputs that I am using on this master. Now the slave has the same setup, X1, 2, 3, and 4. Then what happens is you have a hot wire coming off, in this case off of the hot one here, and it comes through this orange wire up to the first input up here, which is X1. And you can see the LED is lit up there. So whatever your circuitry is that you're going to be using, it has to end up so that you get an input here on X1. Now when X1 is lit up on the master, you're going to get Y1 lit up on the slave, because what you're doing is transferring this input to an output on the other unit. So X1 will light up Y1 on the other unit, X2 will light up Y2 on the other unit, X3 will light up Y3 on the other unit. And that's a relay output on both units. So it's a dry contact. And in this case, you can see that we are on Y1. I'm sorry, Y2 is lit up. Y2 is lit up. This is Y1, Y2, Y3, and Y4. This Y6 down here is lit up, but that's telling me that the unit is powered and that the control is working. So that's what that's doing on this unit. It's also doing it on the slave, which I'll show you in just a minute. So basically what you're doing is what I said. X1 goes to Y1, and then X1 on the other unit will come to Y1 on this unit. X2 on the other unit comes to Y2, which is energized at this time. So I'm going to back the camera out a little bit here, and we'll get a little bigger, broader look at everything here. Bear with me just a second. All right, so now we're going to come over here like that. Now we're a little further away, but what I should have showed you here was, and I'll zoom back in and do that. Let's go back over here. I'll zoom in here. See, you can see that the orange wire is coming off of X1 there. So that means that X1 is powered. And what we're going to do is loosen this up so I can turn it here a little bit. that means that on this one over here, we are going to be and have energized Y1. You can see the LED is on the slave. It's on Y1 right here. Now, if I come back to my master and I put it on take this wire off. I'm doing this in lieu of setting up a whole bunch of buttons. I'm just sticking the wire in the connection. But that's X2 now. So if I look over here on the slave, it went to Y2 is lit up now, and Y1 is off. So now if I, on the master, go to X3, Y3 comes on the slave. The same thing is true on number 4. In other words, I have 4 inputs that I can use and give you 4 outputs on the other end. Now, the same thing is true here in reverse. If I take this wire on the slave and I put it up here on 1, like that, and I look at my master over here, you can see that Y1 is lit up. Okay? So if now on the slave, if I go to 2, X2, Y2 will light up over there on the, well, if I get my wire in there, Y2 will light up on the master. Likewise, if I go to 3 on the slave, for some reason or other I can't get the wire to stay in there. There it is on Y3 on the master. Now if I go to 4, don't want to stay in the, very good. There, it lit up number 4 on the master. So it's 1 to Y1, X1 to Y. I'll back up. It's X1 to Y1 in both directions. Okay? X2 to Y2, X3 to Y3, X4 to Y4. The only reason I'm giving you only 4 inputs as opposed to 6 or more is because, as I understood it, you only needed a couple. And the more I put in there, the slower the scan rate is going to be. In other words, the longer it's going to take to get the signal to the other side of the track. Now, these units are in close proximity. Now I'll back out here for testing here. As you can see, they are fairly close together. However, the RS485 travels on this wire and this wire to the other unit, but it goes through. I'm going to move over here. As you can see, it goes there, there, and there. And that is not 1,500 feet, but it's close to it. That's the only spools I had available. And then the same thing, of course, on the common side. It's there, there, and there. And then it comes back up through to my slave unit, which is right there. Now, the polarity on the 485 is critical. So you want your positive to be on the first connection on that little block on both units. The positive is the top one. The negative is the center one. Okay? And that has to be positive to positive, negative to negative. It can't be reversed. Okay? And that's the only thing that is in there. Now, as far as, and I should do this for you, just so you can see it. We're going to take this one and we're going to move it up here on number 1. And when I do that, as I told you before, it will, I moved it up to number 1. And now we're going to come over here. And as I said, that was a relay contact. The relay contact is on these 2 wires that I've cut off here to test with. And that is between here and here. Now if I take number 1 off on the other end, I've lost my signal. So that's the dry contact on, and it does that on Y1 through Y4. I hope that's enough explanation, and if that isn't working the way you want it to work, please let me know right away. Otherwise, we'll get this thing boxed up and shipped to you. Thank you much. You have a great day.